good to see you tonight. One of college football's biggest characters heading to the SEC. More on that coming up, but first, a major development in the NBA.
That's right, Ryan. We begin with the breaking news in the NBA. And Sixers fans, this is not good news for you. 3 days after Joel Embiid dislocated his left ring finger.
After injuring his ankle yesterday at practice, Adam Thielen limited in practice today. ESPN confirming an NFL Network report that he needs stitches for a cut on his ankle. Now, he's questionable now for Saturday's NFC divisional matchup against the 49ers. And here's Thielen today.
How many stitches did you need? I'm not going to go into the details.
What exactly? Someone's just stepped on your foot, kind of running the pattern? Is that what?
You know, exactly? I got tangled up, and,
sure.
and what happened. You just trust the doctors and opinions, and you do whatever it takes to get out there on Saturday, and that's my mindset. I'm preparing for Saturday, and like I said, I'm going to do what it takes to help this team win, and whatever that is, whatever that role is, I'm going to be out there and do my thing.
And the Vikings are going to need him against the 49ers. Vikings reporter Courtney Cronin joins us now. Courtney, what's the level of confidence that Thielen will be able to play and play effectively on Saturday against the Niners?
Well, Ryan, you heard Adam say himself that his mindset does not change. He is preparing to play in San Francisco while the Vikings keep a close watch on that injured left ankle over the next 48 hours. Now, sources I spoke with indicated that they do not believe this injury will affect his availability to play in a playoff game, but again, a situation to keep a close eye on. Asked earlier this afternoon what his message would be to Vikings fans concerned over the health of this receiving core, Thielen said, quote, "Watch the game Saturday." Now, as far as his running mate Stephon Diggs, he came back to practice in full on Thursday after missing 2 days with a flu bug. He's not on the injury report, so he will play in the divisional playoffs at Levi Stadium.
All right, well, with the 49ers allowing the second lowest QBR in the NFL this season, the Vikings are sure going to need Thielen on that field on Saturday. Courtney, thank you. And coming up, tracking the Ravens' key injury concern, new details on Mark Ingram's status heading into Saturday's showdown with the Titans.
Ryan, it's official. Joe Judge is the new head coach of the New York Football Giants. It's the first head coaching job of any kind for the 38-year-old who leaves his post as the Patriots special teams and receivers coach. He replaces Pat Shurmur, who was fired 10 days ago after winning just 9 games in the last 2 seasons. Of the 4 vacancies that have been filled so far, this is the one that turns the most heads because, frankly, not many people had heard the name Joe Judge before. But that has changed almost overnight as the former Mississippi State football player becomes the Giants' 3rd full-time head coach in the last 4 seasons. So let's take a deeper dive into his resume. Again, he spent the last 8 seasons in New England, the Patriots coaching staff, special teams, and then the receiver coach as well that he added on in 2019. Before working for Bill Belichick, he spent 3 seasons as an off-the-field special teams assistant for Nick Saban at Alabama, where he was part of 2 national championship teams, of course, won 3 Super Bowls in New England. This hiring continues the wave of hiring young head coaches. Joe Judge, now the 3rd youngest head coach in the league, trailing the Rams' Sean McVay and Cincinnati's Zach Taylor. Here is Giants owner John Mara, who detailed one reason why he knew Judge was the right man.
For me, our search ended on Monday afternoon when we finished our session with Joe Judge. I have to tell you that this was perhaps the best coach interview that I've ever been a part of.
There's a question out there I'm sure a lot of people are asking. That's number one, who am I? Well, maybe I can explain that a little bit better, but instead of saying who am I, by telling you what's relevant in this conversation with being a coach of the New York Giants, what I'm about. And what I'm about is an old school physical mentality, okay? We're going to put a product on the field that the people of this city and region will be proud of because this team will represent this area. We will play fast. We'll play downhill. We'll play aggressive. We'll punch you in the nose for 60 minutes. We'll play every play like it is a history and a life of its own with a relentless competitive attitude.
Jordan Raanan is with us now live from MetLife Stadium. And Jordan, on the surface, it seems like the Giants are getting a clone of 2 of the best coaches around, Bill Belichick and Nick Saban. How accurate would you say that statement is?
Yeah, I mean, Joe Judge said he's going to be himself, and that was actually Bill Belichick's advice to him. But let's be honest, you sit there and listen to him. He's talking about he doesn't want to hear from coaches during meetings what a player can't do. He wants to hear what a player can do. He said one game they might run the ball 30 times. The next game they might pass the ball 30, 40 times. So you never know. It's going to be constant changing. And when you sit there and listen to that, it almost sounds like Bill Belichick. And don't think for a second, we heard John Mara talk afterward. He also mentioned, look, the fact that he worked for a decade plus for Nick Saban and Bill Belichick, that played a part in his hiring.
And now comes the really important task of filling out his staff. Offensively, defensively, who is he targeting for his assistants, Jordan?
Yeah, he said he has some names in mind, but he's going to talk to everybody. But two names I've heard from sources is one on the offensive side is Freddie Kitchens, the former Cleveland Browns head coach. The other being Brett Bielema, who's currently the Patriots defensive line coach, formerly the coach at Arkansas and Wisconsin. And he also has decided, at least so far, the one move that we do know is he's bringing back Thomas McGahee, who was the New York Giants special teams coach for the past 2 years. So those are some names to watch moving forward here.
Here's the thing. Over the last 3 seasons, the Giants have the worst record in the NFL. Now it is Joe Judge's turn to try to turn that around. Jordan, run on with the latest. Thank you. Aside from the coaches, I'm sure he's already focusing on April's NFL draft. Giants picking 4th overall, which will be the 5th time in the last 6 seasons that they're picking in the top 10. New York will have over $60 million in cap space, though, to rebolster this team with Eli Manning and others about to hit the free agent market.
Well, coming up, emotions running high after John Beilein's controversial player comments. PTI's bonus segment weighs in on Beilein's backlash. And deep thoughts with Mike Leach is about to become a thing in the SEC. Don't miss the story he once told about the place that he's heading to next.